Hi, everybody. Oh my god. Let's fix this a little bit. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna hang out here until people come on. Actually, I'm gonna roll up a ball here. Hi, Yolanda. You're the first one on. Woohoo! Give it a couple of minutes, waiting for people to kind of pop in, say hi. So, I'm trying to roll up my ball here. So, I have these like skeins of like red heart that I bought when I first started knitting 5 years ago. So, I was testing out something today and busted this out, but it was already like a mess. So, now I have to roll it in a ball. Although I kind of prefer my stuff in a ball. Maybe because I've done balls before, like cakes were a big deal and everybody wanted like their yarn caked or whatever. So, although I was always told not to ball my yarn before I use it because like I guess it stretches it or something, or it does something to it. At least that's what I was told when I was a kid, because I used to ball up yarn for a friend of mine's mom. She would knit when I was a kid. So... Oh, somebody else is on. Say hi, whoever you are. So I know Debbie's going to be on late. I doubt Teddy's going to be on. I know she wasn't feeling well. So, give people a few minutes. A lot of people are new, so... Last week we didn't get everybody in the group fast enough, and I was gonna do it on YouTube, but my YouTube account wouldn't let me do it at the time, and I wasn't gonna fuss with it. So I see 3 people. So say hi in the chat so I can see that you're there. So right now I'm just balling up yarn while I'm waiting for a couple more people to come on. Oy, oy, oy. If anybody still wants me to talk about something in particular, nothing's off the it doesn't have to be a knitting related topic, you know. It could be about anything. Like I'm going to be talking about basically 2 things that aren't knitted related anyway. So, and then I'm going to do a pom-pom demo because I want to test something and see if it works better. So oy, oy. I'm surprised Amy isn't on yet, unless she's busy. Oy, oy. Ah. It's probably very boring just sitting here watching me ball up some yarn, but I actually find this quite soothing. So, you know, I know a lot of people who don't like it, or people who don't like to untangle their yarn and stuff like that. I actually enjoy doing that. So for me, it's very like calming and very like, I wouldn't say mind numbing, but it's like methodical. So my brain is just like focused on taking care of this, especially when it, like I said, especially when it's knotted up. So I refuse to like throw away yarn if it's knotted up. I'm like, I am determined to unknot it and get it into a ball. I think I've only not succeeded once. Oy. This is going to be a very long and boring stream if people don't pop on. I was just going to sit here and stare at me do this. I'm excited to show them what I was testing with this yarn. So, oh, that'll be fun. Say hi, so I know who's here. I mean, it says 3 people are watching, but nobody said hi in the chat yet, so I'm just assuming people are kicking on and deciding, that or getting ready, getting whatever they need, their project, their food, their drinks, so they can sit down and pal around. The one thing that this does suck is because I have carpal tunnel. This is annoying. Hi, Chandra! Well, after I ball this up, I'll show you what I made with it, and then we'll go from there. So, hi, Melissa. How you doing? So, like I said, I'm waiting at least for Amy to come on. Amy usually pops in, so she's the mod on the site in case anybody didn't know. So, I know Debbie is doing something. She texted me that she'll be on a little bit late. So, a few more minutes. Not much of this left, so don't have to watch this too long. Like, oh my god, it's a boy. It's a bow and a yarn. Very muddy colors. Something my husband would like because it's dark. Doesn't like. He's weird because, like, clothing wise, he likes muted colors, but he was a graphic artist, graphic design and stuff like that, and like he like had all these weird things like in odd colors. Like he had like chartreuse paint on one of his walls when I met him. I was like, oh my god. So it's a nice color, but not for a wall. Makes it very loud. So almost there. Only a little bit left. So how's everybody's week going? Talk about insequential things at the moment. My week has been slow. I'm a stay-at-home mom, in case people don't know. So I also have I have fibromyalgia, so I'm kind of like sick a lot, and I've realized, now I just turned 40. I'll turn 41 this year. Hello from Canada! That I think like the premenopausal is actually making it worse. So I live life like day to day. I open my eyes, I take my kids to school, and then I decide whether or not I'm going to go back to bed until I have to pick them up, or if I'm actually going to get anything accomplished. My knitting has been suffering because I just want to go back to bed when I wake up. I'm just like it's like I have 7 hours without the kids. This is the one time I can sleep. So plus my husband works nights, so he sleeps during the day. So, because he's like a big kid. It's like, oh, if I'm up, everybody has to be up. It's like, oh, leave me alone. So, I want to watch the Science Channel. Oh, good Sephora. Oh, cool. Don't you hate those people that, like, when you're, like, a stay-at-home mom, and they're like, oh, you're a stay-at-home mom, like, how, like, somehow, like, that's, like, demeaning. Like, especially in this country, I've noticed, like, in other countries, like, I've heard people say in Canada it's not like that, and definitely, over in Britain, and I know Germany pays their stay-at-home moms, like, from the state, they get a week's vacation. Like, they pay them anyway, they pay them a wage from the state because they are a stay-at-home mom to take care of their children, but they also get, like, a week's vacation, and, like, it's like it's a kid vacation, like, they take the kids with them, but, like, they give them, like, basically daycare during the day so that the parent, like, the mother has time, or whatever parent it is. So, my next-door neighbor was, born and raised in Germany, so he always says that, the work is better here, and the money is better here, but, like, it's not the cost, the quality, there we go, the quality of living is better, so yeah, so I always wanted that. Like, I mean, I remember going to school and it was like, I would go to college and, like, especially in, like, poli-sci classes where it's like, these girls, and I went to school when I was 25, so I'm sitting there in classes with, like, 18-year-olds. I've already had a job. I was an electrician for 5 years. I've had a lot of life experience. I was pregnant when I started going to college too. So, you know, I had a very different idea of life, you know, and I was very proud to like be a mom and to, you know, the idea of taking care of my kid and things like that. And I would have these people that would just be like, "Oh, how could you want that? The way the world is now, you could have a career." And like almost like you're ruining your life. Besides, like, it's like, look, I didn't get knocked up and, you know, stuff like that. I wanted to have a baby, and that was like the part of my life. That's the one thing in life I knew I wanted from like day one. Like, people are like, "Oh, I grew up and I decided I wanted to be a ballerina, or I wanted to do this." Like, I always wanted to be a mom. That was my thing. So like, I got really mad when people were like making it like somehow I was cutting my life short to have kids, where I could, you know, be this career woman and have this profession and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, but I want to be a mom. So, oh, terrible twos. My kids waited till 3. Like, I went through the twos and everything was fine. And then they hit 3 years old and it was like, oh my God, it was like toddler hell. I was like, oh my God, what happened? So now they're in that phase, because I have, Rory is 5. And Declan will be 6 next Monday. And they're growing out of the love each other stage. Like, my sister has twins and they fight constantly. And now when she would see my kids, she would be like, "Oh my God," she's like, "I wish, you know, Emma and Jack were that way, you know, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, all right, you know, I was like, I guess it's just them. But now every 2 seconds, "Ma, he did this, and Ma, he did that." And they have an older brother, so like, it's like, "Ma, Anthony's being a jerk." So, or as my daughter would say, "Anthony's being a dick." So, yes, I'm a bad parent. I let my daughter call her brother a dick. So, well, maybe the terrible 2 is for you, and then 3, they'll be good. Mine were good during the 2s, like, where it was like, "Oh, it's the terrible 2s," and I'm like, "Yeah, my kids were cool," and then 3 hit, and then it was like, ah! They were in everything. I think, you know what it is, like, the terrible 2s is, like, that's when they really start to, like, be, like, they want to explore everything, because at that point, they really can kind of articulate somewhat. They can move around more freely, so they're in everything. They don't understand, like, why they can't touch everything and put everything in their mouth, and, you know, they start learning how to express the fact that they now learn that, hey, I can't just do that, and you tell me no, like, you know, that's that initial recognition of being told no and starting to learn right from wrong in a small degree. So I think it's just because they're learning how to behave and learning how to act. Like, I don't like people, like, when their kids are like 4 or 5 years old and throwing themselves on the floor and shit like that. I'm like, I ain't having that. My eldest son tried that once, and it was after he went to kindergarten. He went to kindergarten and he saw some other kid doing it. And I guess they gave in to the kid. So he came home and I said no to something. And he's like, he threw himself on the floor. And I just looked at him. I'm like, what do you think you're doing? Are you crazy? You know, and I was like, where did you see that? Because, you know, he never did it before. And it's not like something that, you know, he would regularly see. And he said something about the kid in school. And I asked the teacher the next day. And she's like, oh, yeah, he literally threw a tantrum in the middle of class. Like, threw himself on the floor, kicking and screaming and, you know, stuff like that. So, but, anyway, so for the few people that are on, and for the people that were here watching me roll up my ball here, see, it's just regular red heart yarn. So, I had seen this actually in fabric before. I had seen somebody do it in yarn. So, now while you're like, oh my God, it's a voodoo doll. It's a yarn doll, you know. I basically made one long tassel this way, and then I sectioned it off with the head and the body and the legs, and then I did a tassel this way and kind of inserted in between, and then made like a crisscross against the top there. So if you could see, there's like the crisscross there. So, and like each part is defined off, like where his hands are and his little feet and stuff like that. So, but I didn't just make a yarn doll for the shits and giggles of making a yarn doll. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of a Damn It doll. So again, I had seen it in fabric first, and I told my husband, I was like, oh my God, I want one of those. But I get Pinterest, and Pinterest, like, you know, sends me like, hey, you might like this. You click this one, you may like that, and whatever. So I have like the pom-pom tutorials, like where they make the really cool like animals and stuff like that. So I get a lot of like just yarn related crafts at that point. But so somebody had made yarn dolls, damn it dolls with yarn. So what the point of this is this is like your little angry thing. So like when like you should have like one of these at work, or when your spouse pisses you off, and it's just like you're supposed to scream, damn it, damn it, damn it, as you kill it. But that is the point of this. And I think the point is it's so silly it makes you laugh. So you're like, whatever you're mad or not, you know, you kind of get over it. I wish I could crochet, because I had seen crocheted vaginas. And I actually was asking someone I know who like crochets, and she makes me stuff when I need stuff, because I can't do certain things. So I'll just be like, I'll just pay her to do it. You know, she could use the money. And I text her. I was like, can you crochet me some vaginas? And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I want them so when I'm mad at my husband, I can throw them at him. So there's my little damn it doll. Put him up there. He can hang out on screen. So, although, you know what, given some of the topics I've talked about the last 2 weeks, I think all the admins of any group should have a damn it doll. Ay, ay, ay. So, ay, ay, ay. I guess everybody's busy tonight. So we got so many people influxed into the group because they wanted to watch the stream. So, I think it's this Sunday. This Sunday, Amanda's doing her sock tutorial. It might be Saturday. I forget. I think it's this weekend, though. So, I thought she said Sunday, because her and I talked about doing things on her having Sunday for her day to do whatever she wants. So, that should be good for anybody who's looking to learn how to do socks. So I know that she speaks very softly, and, you know, you can understand, you know, she knows how to enunciate her words, so it doesn't, you know, like when you look down, sometimes some people, just the way they speak, you have to be like, what they say, or turn the captioning on and stuff. And she explains things very well, so I think anyone, especially people who have been having a hard time with socks, or haven't tried to do socks, or, you know, even if you know how to do socks, you never know, there are so many different ways to do heels and toes and stuff like that, so you might learn something. I always watch stuff, even if I know it, I'll watch somebody else do it, because, you know, you never know when you'll pick up a trick, or, you know, sometimes they'll just say something to be like, oh, okay, that's cool. And like me, when I talk, people are like, oh, did she go there? And it's like, yeah, I did. So, I'm going to eat some shrimp. So, sorry, I didn't get to eat dinner. No, I was getting my kids ready for dinner, getting them upstairs. My daughter stayed home from school today because she wasn't feeling too hot, and honestly, the stomach bug and the flu, and, you know, all the shit that goes around this time of year. So when she's in pre-K and my son's in kindergarten, so like those are like the worst times when your kids get sick. Like, you realize when you have kids that, like, once they hit like schooling age, or, you know what, if they go to daycare, then it starts a lot earlier and lasts a lot longer. Like, I remember my sister's kids being sick, especially my nephew being sick all the freaking time, because they were in daycare and stuff like that. So they were constantly around the petri dish of disease, you know, from the other kids, you know, just everybody licking and touching and coughing, and, you know, people who, you know, send their kids to school or send their kids to the daycare freaking sick, which I find ridiculous. So, you know, mind you, I worked, you know, full-time job, you know, made, you know, at one point I brought in the more money in the house. You know, I was a retail manager for almost 20 years. So, you know, I never gave any mother, father, or whatever a hard time when they were like, look, I can't come in because my kid is sick, or I can't, I can't work today, or, because my kid is sick, or doctor's appointments and whatever. Like, your kids are more important, especially to, like, my associates, because it's like, you know what, you don't get paid enough to be like that. So, but, it was the kids that I knew. It's like, oh, I can't come in. It's like, yeah, because you're on the beach, It's like, maybe you shouldn't post to your Instagram and be friends with your boss, because I already know where you are and why you're not here. So, I wonder where everybody is. I don't want to cut the stream short because nobody's popping on. So, but I'll wait a little bit longer and see what happens. Yeah. Thank you for the one person that is actually on watching this. It figures like this time I'm like, oh, I've got like something I'm actually going to show you, like, knit worthy. It's like, yeah, nobody's on. Nobody gives a shit. So it's funny. I actually considered not coming on tonight because I was in a lot of pain. I was getting a real bad fibro flare, but I put some lidocaine patches and stuff on. I didn't want to disappoint. Although at this point, I don't know who I'm disappointing. So. Somebody else popped on. Hey, hello in the chat. So, oh yeah. So anyway, I bought whatchamacallit. This is wax thread. So I've made pom-poms before. I've made them big. I've made them small. And I've tied them with regular yarn. And then I was trying to make them really puffy and stuff and like fuzzy, and they fall apart. And it's because no matter how much you like pull the yarn, it doesn't get tight enough. So I was watching a bunch of people, and people use dental floss and all kinds of other stuff. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that's the way to go. So I wanted to test for everybody on screen if it is actually the truth. So I'm trying to find my sharp scissors. It's in one of my bags. Yay, Debbie's on! So if anybody wants to know why he's here, I'll explain it again. So I made him earlier. He's my damn it doll. So if you have never heard of a damn it doll and you're an admin, I've decided we should all have one. We should have them made. So I'm going to use this ball here. So, because I have a lot of it and I have no use for it. So these are Clover. In case anybody cares, these are the Clover pom-poms makers. So they open up on both sides. I don't know if you can see that. So the light's pretty bright. So what you do is you start with them together, and you start the one side. So little U right there. So I'm sure most people know how to make pom-poms. I know there's some makers that are a little bit different, but I like this one. I mean, I haven't really tried too many other ways to do pom-poms. I've done the old school way. We wrap it around a piece of cardboard. So, but I happen to like this because it keeps everything together and it makes it really easy. So, and a lot less cutting after the fact. So, like when you're trimming it up to clean it up, you don't have to do as much because it's more even. So, yay, you're here. So, I don't think we're gonna see Teddy tonight. I have a feeling she's just gonna go home and go to bed and possibly kill her husband. Because if he was my husband, I'd probably kill him. So for anyone who's on, Debbie is one of our admins. So she's also a designer. She has a YouTube. So if you just go to her name, she has wonderful stitch tutorial videos, stitches that she creates. So I've made actually quite a few things with her stitches. So very simple, makes really nice texture, and you know, just makes nice designs and stuff like that. So, you know, you have to do some of your own work where you're gonna have to apply the stitches, although she does have some pieces, some works there. I know she's got a scarf and a couple other things. So, oy, oy, oy. Guess it's a slow night here, Deb. So, I like my yarn, my pom-poms like really thick, so, you know, when I first got this thing, it was like, I wasn't doing it right, because like you think, oh, I'm just gonna wrap it a couple of times and just cover it and that's it. And it's like, then I watch other people make it and they're like big and fat and super, super thick. And I was like, oh, I guess that's how you're supposed to do it. No wonder this looks so much better than mine. So I'm just gonna make them sure that they're like kind of even. They work better when they're even. So. Alrighty. The other thing is like sometimes like it slips, so you gotta make sure that it's tucked under. So with that done, I'll close it. And hold on, I messed up there. So you just close it and then you run it across to the other side, open the other side, and start wrapping. Nice and easy. So oy, oy, oy. I wonder where Jackie is. I know she was around. I know she just posted before, so she might be doing stuff with her family too. So I know Amanda popped in. I don't know if she popped back out, so. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the live. I'm working on making a pom-pom with the Clover pom-pom maker, and then I'm going to secure it with wax thread and see if it works much better than securing it with yarn. So I haven't really got into bitching about too much so far. I was just talking about being a stay-at-home mom for the people that weren't on a little while ago. So I have a few things that we can bitch about today, but I'm gonna wait for their people to be on. Yeah, right. Some things I don't mind, like I was winding up my ball of yarn earlier, and you know, I don't mind that. It's kind of the motion is kind of like relaxing to me, where I can understand for other people this is like tedious and annoying. So you don't mind it so much. So alrighty. So now that it's done, I'm gonna cut this off. And then you just slide it in between the centers. I should probably do that up higher so people could see it. Nope. So, say hi to my damn it doll. If anybody wants me to explain to them what it is, I will again. So I did a live demonstration before, but many people weren't on yet, so. Alrighty. This little piece right here. Oh, it frayed right here. That's so annoying. Get in there. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna take this wax thread and see if this works better. So, I'm gonna cut a piece. And then I can slide it right in. Sorry, I need my lap, so to make the knot because I can't really feel too well with my fingers. And then you just pull it like super, super tight. So super, super tight. So and then knot it. And super, super tight. I hope that's tight enough because it hurt my fingers. So, and then you pull things open. Like, I never had a problem with my palms really falling apart too much, so it's like it's not like a necessity to like get wax thread or dental thread or whatever the case may be, you know. But for the fact that I just put that in my food, gross. Apparently, like, with the wax thread, it makes it harder for the stuff to, like, come out. So, like, it grips it so that the yarn doesn't pull through the knot. See, and again, I don't have to really fuss with it too much. So, it's kind of pretty good right off the, right off the thing. So, and I might be able to brush this one and it not fall apart. Because it definitely feels tighter than the ones I do with my with the yarn. So I don't have a brush handy to try to brush it out and make it, but oh, it's funny, these are like really cheap cat toys. You have cats, just make them a bunch of pom-poms and they'll be really excited. So, but yep, there's my palm. And like I said, it's a lot sturdier. I will definitely say that with the wax thread. So, you know, I mean, I went on Amazon and bought wax thread, but I'm sure, you know, like I said, I've seen people use dental floss because that's basically what it is. It's waxed, you know. We need the waxed version because I guess the wax stops the yarn from just pulling out because it's, you know, it's not so slippery. So there's that. So test complete, I guess, for the few people that are on. Ow. Never drop a scissor on your toes. That doesn't work. So I love these little scissors. They're so pretty. And I got them on Wish for like $3, $4. So I ordered a couple more pairs. They're friggin' sharp. I love them because they are like super, super freaking sharp. I've actually poked myself with them. So, hi. Go upstairs, please.
I'm going to do this. And
no.
I will be quiet.
That's my daughter. So, I need you to go upstairs, sweetie. Come on. You were sick all day. Don't start now. You like my little doll?
Your doll?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Isn't that cool?
I can go to sleep with it.
I'll let you have it afterwards, okay? When I'm done, I'll bring it up and I'll let you have it, okay?
I take it, I don't take it outside. And...
No, let me have it now. Please. Listen, I'll make you one. Look, there's Rory. Okay, come on, you. Being silly. There you go, thank you. All right, go to bed. You have to go to school tomorrow.
That's
so.
my puppy.
Okay, go.
Stop, Nikki.
Close the door.
This is Nikki.
Oh, yeah?
Nikki.
Great, she named her dog after me. Ay, ay, ay. She's a trip, so. Ay. My little doll back there. Ay, ay, ay. So one of the things we were going to bitch about was the people who share, like, and don't get me wrong, when kids are missing, you absolutely, when you see those things, you should share. But people who share them and repetitively share them and the kid has been found, like, I don't know, a day ago, like, most of the time, like, especially when you share articles or Amber Alerts and stuff like that, like, if you actually click the link before you share it, most of the time they update them. And it'll say the most recent update will be at the top, or some places it's the bottom, but it's like, you know, oh, the kid has been found, you know, or whatever the case may be, you know. So it's like, you know, there's enough shit in the feed, and then think about it this way, for all the kids that have been found compared to the kids that haven't been found, like, you know, you're just taking up valuable resources and space. So, but I think that's like everything on Facebook. People are just so like trigger happy to hit the share button, you know, that they don't even read like the articles. Like, it's like so many of the articles are clickbaity. It can be very misleading to like what the actual article's about. So I actually, you know, I have people all the time that share stuff, and one of the people is a friend of mine, and he'll share stuff, and I'll be like, no. And he'll be like, he goes, I just didn't have time to read it. I shared it because I want to go back to it. He's like, I'm going to delete it. And it's like, yeah, but don't share it. There's a save feature. Save it if that's the case. Don't share shit unless you read it, you know? You know, because you have no idea sometimes what you're sharing. Like, just because the headline or the link pops up that it's this, you actually click it, and like I said, a lot of articles are very misleading. You know, like, especially political ones. Like, you'll read something and they'll have like this headline that sounds so fucking outrageous, and you know, it's like, oh my god, how could that be happening? But you actually read the article and it's not what the headline is at all, you know? But that's how, like, that information gets shared so quickly, because everybody's just so quick to hit a share button. You know, it doesn't make you better or worse or whatever by sharing shit, you know? And again, like, especially like if you're aligned one way, like, I love people that are whatever, left, right, blue, green, I don't care. You know, they'll share something because the headline seems to go with what they believe, or they think they believe, or whatever is right. And then you like actually go and read the article, and it's like, something happened to you? Like, and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, did you read this article? Did you actually read it? Because it's not saying what you think it says. So, you know, that word doesn't mean what you think it means. Anybody seen The Princess Bride? You keep words in that word, and I don't think it means what you think it means. Oh my god, it's just like, it's nuts, you know, the shit that people share and shit like that. It's just like, come on. I was like, you know, even if I don't like stuff, I don't have no problem with that, but like, I just seriously get annoyed when people don't actually click the links they just share because of the heading. So, it's really, really annoying. So, if my eating bothers anybody, let me know. So, I know some people are like, nah, I'm not in for that. I don't want to watch you eat. So, I was running around right up until the live stream. I had to go clean upstairs. I get the kids ready for bed. Dinner, clean up, dogs, the whole 9 yards. So, like, I didn't actually get time to sit down and, like, put food in my belly. So, and I usually stay on until 9:30, and I don't want to get a headache from not eating. So, but, so the other thing we were going to talk about is people that run into the loom knitting is cheating, loom knitting isn't real knitting, it's, you know, it's knitting for children, you know, and stuff like that. Like, if you run across those people, take the damn it doll and be like, damn it! Anyway. Loom knitting is knitting! It's in the fucking terms! The RCMP here said sometimes kids are in danger and don't want to be found, and it's a legitimate site. So, yeah, you know, but, you know, whether kids are kids, there was like some kind of game too, wasn't there? Where the kids were pretending that something happened to them, and like they wouldn't come home to see how long like it would take them to wind up on Facebook or something like that for, like, you know, an Amber Alert to go out for them. I remember seeing something like that, which I think is sick. Like, really, again, wasting time and resources and things like that, you know, just for some stupid petty game, you know. And listen, I mean, I did ring and run and did, you know, ring and ditch or whatever it was, you know, I played Truth or Dare and stuff like that, you know, but I can't say that really anything that we did was like a dangerous stunt, you know, kind of thing, or, you know, could, again, be using resources that could be going to someone that's actually in real trouble. So, you know, I was a fairly decent kid. So then again, my mom knew everything. So like I'd have friends that'd be like, oh, let's sneak out and let's do this. And I'm like, no, can't. They're like, come on, your mom. I'm like, nah, you don't know my mom. My mom comes in at 3 a.m. and she's like, are you sleeping? You want a burger? It's 3 a.m, woman. Yeah, but you want a burger and some fries. And it's like, fine. My mom was always weird. You know, she would literally do that. Like, she would, like, come in. She'd be up for whatever reason. Like, my mom and I now both have the same thing where, like, we just don't sleep very well. You know, we'll sleep a couple hours or we'll stay up half the night and then fall asleep for 2 or 3 hours. But she would always, like, come in the room and she'd be, like, seeing if you're up, and like if your eye like even squinted, she's like, oh, you were up, and it's like, I wasn't really up, but okay. You know, but she would literally cook a fucking 4-course meal at 3 a.m, you know, had you wanted it. So I guess it gave her something to do. But yeah, I could never sneak out of my house because she was, you know, she was always, every night at some point she would come in the room and check in on us, lower our TVs and whatever. So there was no sneaking out because she would definitely know that I was not in my bed at any point. So, you know, anyway, so yeah, the loom knitting, not knitting thing it gets on my nerves. You know, it's so petty and it's so ridiculous, you know. Like, listen, you learned how to needle knit and that's a great feat, you know. Why do you have to make it like, you know, oh, you went through all of this to learn how to needle knit? And it's like, have you loom knitted without just looking at the project itself and understanding that? Like, I get the idea that, you know, it's easier to lose your project or drop stitches and stuff like that. And it can be depending on what project you're doing. Because on the loom, if you're doing certain kinds of things, it's really easy to drop stitches too. Excuse me. But, you know, if you go back and you do historically, you know, weaving and looms and all that stuff was before needle knitting. So it's like, you know, slow your roll there. Like, calm down. It's like, why does it have to be like that? Like, why do you have to diminish what I'm doing to make yourself feel important? Like, just stay in your lane, stay in your own shit. You know, you don't have to. I guess it's just like, and listen, human nature is human nature, and it's always going to be like that. But I feel like with the birth of the internet and, you know, the ease that people can just, you know, talk shit and say shit that, you know, if they were in somebody's face, they'd probably get their teeth knocked out. But it's like this whole culture of, you know, not bettering yourself and running on your own merits and talking about, you know, hey, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. It's always about, you know, who can we tear down? Who can we pull down? Who can we make them less of what they're worth to make me feel better? And it's like, why can't you just feel better on your own? Like, why do you have to hurt someone else to make yourself feel better? It's fake and it's phony, you know. And segue, you know, that whole fake and phony people, like, you have those people out there that are just like, if you're so good at what you do, you know, you don't have to go shit on other people, you know. You do you, and you show what you can do, and let them do what they're doing. And if somebody outshines you, instead of being a prick, be better. Be better. Figure a way to be better. If they're doing something better than you, if they're gaining more followers than you, they're whatever the case may be, then you have to say to yourself, okay, what can I do for me to make me here, instead of trying to take this person down 3 pegs? Because you're not helping yourself in the long run if you think about it, because you are plateauing and you're not moving forward, you're not learning something new, or you're not gaining any ground because you're too busy fucking yanking on this person's coattails and trying to pull them out, you know, out and down under you. You know, it's you know, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, everything doesn't have to be cutthroat. You know, we're not, you know, in the stock market or things like that. You know, like, you know, if you're a designer and, you know, somebody else is designing stuff, like, stop looking to, like, pull their work apart and treat their work like shit because you just want people to pay attention to you. It's not necessary. It's just not. You know, everything, you know, everybody can build each other up and work together to make the community better rather than just tearing and fighting with each other. You know, of course there's going to be people you don't get along with. Of course there's going to be people that are assholes and fake and phony and liars, big fat liars. Sometimes it's not even worth trying to bring them down because their house is already built on something unstable. So cutthroat about yarn is ridiculous. It is, you know. It was like when I worked at Bath and Body Works, it's like when shit would happen and there was drama and it would get like ridiculous. I'm like, we sell fucking soap. How important do you think you are in life? You sell body wash. Like, come off your fucking high horse, you know? You're not a fucking politician. You're not a fucking multimillionaire. You're not like a rocket science. Like it's just not that big of a deal, you know? But, and again, it's not about working together. It's not about bettering the community as a whole. And again, we are just driving further and further and further away from that with the internet because the internet allows more people to be isolated and more people to be shut in and hide and not have community. You know, when I was a kid, when my grandparents were kids, like my father, like I would go to my grandmother's house and like my father knew everybody that lived on the block. Everybody knew my dad and his brothers. You know, it's like who lived here, who lived there, who moved away, who died, whatever. They knew everybody on the damn block. And hell, they probably knew people on the other blocks too, you know. And then when I was a kid, we knew less and less people, but I knew the people on my grandmother's block for the most part and things like that. Where I lived in Brooklyn when I was a kid was on an avenue. But again, I still knew the girl who lived next door and the girl who lived up the block. And when I had my kids, you know, I noticed that people don't pay attention. They don't want to, you know, they don't know their neighbors. You know, everybody's like, you know, like ready to pounce and ready to like spy and not be friendly. It's like, you know, especially like the people on your anchor sides. It's like, you know, I mean, we have a very love-hate relationship with the lady on my backside here compared to the lady over here. The lady over here is really cool. She's like 70 years old, fought cancer 3 times. And, you know, she was in the freaking Marines. She's a badass little chick, you know. But she's cool and she's too past that point to give shit, you know, dealing with people and being nice for the sake of being nice. The person over here is like the block mayor and she's got to be in everybody's business and she's got to talk shit about everybody behind their back. Her and my husband have this like petty little war of who can get the decorations up quicker. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. You know, when we very first moved in and the first holiday was Halloween and we're big Halloween people. Me and my husband got married on Halloween. And we were putting up our Halloween decorations and she was legit mad. And she told the other neighbors that she was mad because she always has the decorations up first. She's the first one to have her decorations up, you know, and she was the only person on the block that actually like put up any kind of like real decoration, not just like a, you know, a string of lights here or, you know, dollar store sign there. You know, Halloween, we go all out. My whole house is decorated inside and out. But it's just so ridiculous. It's like, you know, there's no sense of community. Like, we pretend that we want community. You know, we want to pass these moral acts and, you know, we want to fight with the politicians and talk about this community, you know, this community feeling, you know, whose votes, you know, who are we vying for, you know, who are we trying to protect, whether it's like trans rights or, you know, the LGBT community, you know, kids with autism, you know, just all of these other communities that aren't really communities. Like, we want this idea of community, I feel. You know, there's always going to be, like, again, there's always going to be the legitimacy, like, where there are people that really are community. But more often than not, they just want the idea. Like, because, again, the mob mentality, you get enough people, whatever the case may be. But, like, there's no real community. It's not real people coming together and doing things, you know, face to face. You know, and I say that because, like, we were talking last time about people sharing the stuff for the fires in Australia, which is all fine and good. I totally understand, you know, helping out the animals and helping out the people of Australia, and I totally get that. But you see all these people, it's like, oh, knitting for this and spending money and who this, that, and the other thing. And then, like, literally, like, somebody here in this country, you know, is, you know, whether it be a veteran that's homeless or, you know, like, I shared, my friend, her house got robbed like the week before Christmas. Like she was moving and it was a disaster. They stole the kids' presents and all this junk. And I shared like, hey, let's just get them some money, whatever. And like, I could tell you how many people didn't even bother. You know what I'm saying? It just literally didn't even bother. But then they'll give $1, to the fucking, the koala bears in Australia, And again, don't turn this into the, an animal people nonsense thing because, it's not about that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you want to donate to the things that you truly care about, but we're not worried about what's going on in our front and backyards, and we want to be everywhere else. These are people that are close to home that, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying do them both, but you'll see many, many people who don't, and again, that there's that feeling of community, you'll see it in the groups, you'll see the divisions and the lines and the things going on in the groups because people want to be, petty and want to bring someone else down rather than everybody lifting each other up so that the community benefits as a whole, the community benefits regardless, you know what I'm saying? If you work together, if you're not going to work together and you're going to be petty and things like that, you're just tearing the community apart. You're pulling people apart. You're not allowing people to learn from other people because they have to decide, what lines that they stand on rather than everybody working together for a common goal, And like for me, I always tell people, like when I used to work as a manager, I would always come into some place and they'd be like, oh, so-and-so there, doesn't work. It's like, blah, 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 blah. They suck. They this, that, they're slow, this, that, and the other thing. And the first thing that I would do with that person is figure out how they learn. Some people are visual learners. Some people, are, auditory learners and things like that. So I would have to understand, it's like, all right, do I have to physically show them what I want? Can I just articulate what I want? Do I have to draw a picture for them? And that would be the first thing. And like a lot of these people, it was just a matter of taking the time to learn how they learn and then being able to teach them how they learn. And that being said, when you're talking about a community, like say, again, the looming community, we have all these wonderful designers and there are some people who are like, oh, I love this person. I love that person. I love this person. And it's like, nobody's better or worse or anything like that. Like we have, again, like you have to be like, oh, this person's better than that person. It's like, no, that person is different. They teach different things. They go about different things. Like Lumahat mostly does a lot of her projects on the 41 peg chunky loom. And she does that purposely because she knows that that's the most accessible, easiest, cheapest item. So that, again, she's starting at the lowest level of the community. She's not using the most expensive loom and this, expensive yarn. She's trying to like teach from the very bottom, but give, enough information that no matter what you do past that, if you get the special loom and spend the money and buy the special yarn and things like that, you've got the fundamentals down, and you could go to somebody else like Amanda and she teaches a different way and a different kind of thing. And like, Scarlett's really good at this. And, actually Scarlett's really good at a lot of things, but like definitely like when we're talking about animals, looming animals, like the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, hey, go talk to Scarlett because I know that she's very, methodical about that. But again, it doesn't have to be an attack, not everything has to be an attack and we can just learn from everybody else. And when you deal with certain things, my ex-husband used to say, there are only 7 stories in the entire world. That's it, 7. There are 7 basic concepts, which is the 7 deadly skins, and the 7 virtues. And every story plays off those 7. So the only thing that's new about what you're doing is you're telling the story with a new twist. So in like loom knitting, everything is knits and purls, period. The basics of the basic is knits and purls, so whatever you're designing or doing is based off those 2 stitches. So like things are going to be similar and, like I can't tell you how many different patterns there are for basically what's a spiral hat. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a spiral hat that has different colors in it or a spiral hat that goes to the left and spiral hat that goes to the right. And then it's like, well, who, what, where, and when? And it's like, everybody has their own take on something. So it's not like, not necessarily a copy. But again, there's only so much deviation you can go. And again, you can apply knits and purls in so many different ways and then still have a basic outcome to a degree. So that's a big deal. Something I've noticed in a lot of the groups lately is like copywriting. Copywriting is really weird. It should be basic fundamentals. You know what I'm saying? Most people think it should be very black and white. And first things first, it depends on where you live. So that black and white gets really grayed depending on what country you live in. And second of all, you can't copyright something if you don't copyright it. So just because you make something and you put it out into the world, unless you actually copyright it, which is actually a process to copyright, you didn't copyright shit. You know what I'm saying? Like women, like Isla Phillips. She has a book. The book is copyrighted, so the patterns inside the book are copyrighted. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a copyright from the people that got it, so they're copyrighted because they're in the book. But before that, it's not necessarily like if I wrote a play or I wrote a book, if I didn't either poor man's copyright or go to a copywriter and have it submitted to be copyrighted, if somebody else steals my idea, I'm not shit out of luck, but it's a lot harder at that point, where if I had just physically got the copyright, because you have proof of copyright, the same way you get patents when you design certain things, those things it's different. Just because you write something, like if you write an essay and you hand it in and it's your words and your things, you didn't copyright that. You wrote it, it's your information, it's yours. But that doesn't mean that people can't pick from it and use things and whatever the case may be. Or unfortunately, there are other rules that come into play at that point. So I think before people just start throwing like the word copyright onto everything, really understand what copyright and copyright laws and where you live and all that other stuff, because it's just not that simple. You know what I'm saying? What else? I can't think of something right now. I just, like I said, you're not going to like everybody, and that's fine, and you don't like somebody, move along, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to interact with them. You don't have to deal with them. You don't have to, be part of it or whatever. Even if they're annoying or they post a lot or they ask a million questions and things like that, you don't have to be bothered with them. You can, especially on Facebook, you can hide people. So if you don't want to see stuff from them, you can hide it. If you can turn off comments. Like, so if you commented on something and then like now it's blowing up or it's getting ridiculous, you can turn off comments. You can stop yourself being notified when people comment. There's a million things you could do to unbother yourself rather than be a dick. And trust me, sometimes you just want to be a dick. I've had those moments where I can and have done and been a dick, but sometimes it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. The internet is such a scuzzy place sometimes, and it's just not worth it. Very slow tonight, so nobody's talking in the chat. Not getting a good gauge of what what to talk about or what to continue on. So again, I think it's just a bad week. I think like everybody's just getting sick and stuff like that. Like my neighbor's kid is sick. My kid got sick. My son's friend got sick. So everybody's like, you want a Debbie Dick tag? That could be taken in so many improper ways. Unfortunately, that's what I like about the boom, and what I appreciate about it. Like, we're not here to give everybody a hard time. We're here to build a real community, not a fake one. So, we want to be here for each other. We want to help each other, and that's fine. But at the same time, we want to have fun. We want to jerk around. We want to be, we want to be like, if we were all hanging out together, like how you'd be, like, we don't want everything prim and proper and stuff like that. You want to just, have fun. And there are times where, like, we're friggin' dicks. You know, if you're going to come on and you're going to complain and be a total dick, admins here have the complete authority to be a dick back. And if you don't like it, leave, you know, or you're going to get kicked anyway. So, especially if Jackie's in charge. So, note to self, don't piss off Jackie. So, but, you know, that's the other thing too. I think so many people are worried, you know, about, you know, saving face, and in certain instances you do have to worry about that. Like, you know, your current situation, Deb, I totally understand why you let a lot more things go than others. Like, I think Oliver is that way, where she'll let a lot more things go, where like Sue and I will be bigger dicks to people because it doesn't matter to us. You know, personalities aside, you know, it's just the feel of being professional, and, you know, and things like that, where it's just like, for me, it's like, yeah, I don't care. I've actually learned how to be a dick and still kind of be professional about it. So, I feel like it's a bust this week, I guess. So, I probably won't stay on too long if nobody else comes on. So, but I got my my knitting machine. I know I posted whatchamacallit today. So, I was watching a video like how to set it up and how to get started, but it wasn't like, I find that a lot of the prim ones aren't in English. Not that you couldn't watch another one, but I happened to put that in YouTube, and there's a lot in I think it's German. It looks like German, that or Russian, but I think it's German. So like I started it and worked it out. Now it's like, I don't know if, I'm doing certain things right or wrong. So I see like, definitely like there's some tension issues here and there, but that's not a big deal. It's stuff you learn. But when I did it and I started off and went every other peg, and then it picked up all the pegs. So I don't know if it, like, that's the bottom is the top, or when I get to it, that's going to be whatever. I'll figure it out eventually. Yeah, it sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating, especially, you know, when your personality is definitely one way, and the people that know you know that, like, your personality, and then they look at you being nice, or even sometimes getting walked on because you just rather try not to rock the boat. Hi, Linda. So, you know, like I said, we should all make a bunch of these, and when everybody pisses us off online or is a dumbass, just be like, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, just beat the doll to death. So, again, see, like that thing, I guess it would work, because every time I do it, I laugh my ass off. So, oy, oy, oy. So, I don't think you missed much, Linda. I did my pom-pom using wax thread. Works so much better than using yarn as your tie. So it makes it nice and tight. So it's funny, I read that, like, you know, like in Brooklyn, it's like, how you doing? How you doing? So, I'm actually kind of cranky tonight. My back is on fire. I have lidocaine patches all over my back. So I'll probably get my kids to bed and go to bed after I get off, to be honest. So, oy, oy. It's so slow tonight. Like even me, I'm like not on the ball. Like if you've watched any of the other, you love my accent. It is funny because most of the time it's not there. Like, I mean, I'll have a normal, I guess, American accent, but like my Brooklyn comes in, especially like when I'm mad. My husband's like, he goes, oh, you know, it's trouble when all the R's stop dropping at the end of the words. You know, it's not mother, it's mother. And, you know, it's not father, it's father. You know, so like everything has that, like the R's drop off. There's no heavy R's in everything I say. And the word fuck. When I say the word fuck, people are like, apparently it sounds different. You know, I lived in Wisconsin for a while, and I guess I was getting an accent from being out there. And my mom would be like, she'd come in and she'd be like, go in the corner and say fuck like 80 times. She's like, so that you stop it. Because I guess the fuck brings it back. But even when I was a kid, like, I would go, I had an uncle who lived in Georgia. And I'd go down there, and the kids would always be like, oh, you talk funny. And they would make me say stuff, and especially cursing. I guess cursing sounds really different. So, but yeah. Yeah, I was raised in Brooklyn, so, like, my husband will be like, you know, he'll tease me. He'll be like, uh-oh, Brooklyn's coming out. There must be trouble. Somebody must be mad. Oy, oy, oy. So, boy, I feel bad. I think maybe because, like, you know, Teddy and Jackie and Amy are not on, like, nobody else is, like somehow that they're, like, the glue that pulls everybody else in. So, I don't even know what time it is. I want to see what time it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the night. So, I, make sure that, anybody who's on, check out, Amanda's, sock thing on Sunday. I think it's on Sunday. If it's not on Sunday, someone can correct me. I think, plenty of people would benefit from that. And then, I'll live stream again next week. So maybe Thursdays isn't a good day. Maybe we'll put it out there for a different day. So, but you know, can't be Sundays because Sundays is Amanda's. But you know, but we'll see. Well, to the 2 or 3 people that are still hovering in and out, I'll talk to you guys later, and then that's pretty much it. So I will talk to you guys next week.